Hello, everyone, and welcome to Mom Talk. Mom Talk is my talk show that I created back in the end of 2019, and I started it because I am a mom, and I realized when you're on your mom journey and when you're just in a journey for life, you feel like you're going through things by yourself, and that's not how it should be in life. So I created this platform with a monthly talk show every fourth Thursday of the month, excluding November, because I'll tell you why in a minute, that we come to talk about various topics. We have different experts from my powerful network to come and talk to you about different topics that are useful in your life, because sometimes in life you feel like we're going through things by ourselves, and that's not the case. We can learn from other people that we know. So I created this platform for moms, those interested in motherhood, and those that support us as well. So all people are welcome. We have a lot of great people that come on this platform every month. So I appreciate you for those who are here live, because you will be in the running for what I, as a guest speaker and a guest mom expert, will be giving away to the live attendees. Well, one lucky live attendee, and every month one of the speakers will be giving away something, a product and or service. I'm doing both today, which is my book, How to Get a College Degree for Free, as well as a consultation with me, because I'll go into why and what I do in a minute. So I am so happy you are here today, and let's get started. So I usually have my talk show in 3 segments, and I'm just going to talk myself through it, put your questions in the chat, and then we'll get the ball rolling. So for me, I wear many hats. I am a mom, I'm a wife, I'm an engineer by trade. Like, this is a male-dominated field that's really challenging, but I'm also a corporate exec. I work my way up the corporate ladder. I have my own consulting business while working full-time at 9 to 5, and I'm also the founder and executive director of a nonprofit, which I'm going to be talking to you about today, which is called Never Underestimate Knowledge, which you can go to at neverunderestimateknowledge.org. And I wear a couple of other hats. I'm definitely a youth advocate, which is something that I'm going to be talking to you about today. I'm a lifelong learner, and I like to sow seeds in others in regards to sharing, because I care and I want all of us to win. And there's a lot of people that are on here live that relate to me. They know who I am, and they know that if I don't have the answer, I know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who will be able to get you the answer. So I'm a connector, and if I had to think of an adjective that starts with the letter C, because it's an icebreaker that I've been in a lot of time, it would be caring crystal. So with me, with my consulting services, parents consult with me when they want their child to attend college debt free, because I expose them to the strategies that I leverage to get not 1, not 2, but 3 college degrees for free. And I'm not talking just tuition, right? So I got my tuition. I got my room, which is the housing on campus and off campus, may I mind you. I got my food. I had my fees and even professional conferences for free by different funding sources. And guess what? Have your pen and pad ready, because I'm empowering you with tips on different funding sources. So parents consult with me when they want their child, and or if a scholar comes to me themselves for my consulting services, to empower them with the skills that I used to get those 3 degrees for free at an undergraduate and graduate level, so that parent's child or that scholar can go to college and focus on being a student without fearing a mountain of debt. Because let's face it, who wants to pay for a college degree 20, 30, even more years after that they get it? Like, I know a 50-year-old who's still paying for the college degree. Like, we don't want to do that. That's more than when you're paying for a house, right? It's usually a 30-year mortgage. So I have knowledge, I have the skills, so I empower others through the different avenues, be it my book, which I documented my journey on how I was able to get my college degrees for free. And I also provide tips and resources in it. I also, as you may be connected with me on things like Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, like if you go to my site, crystalgoliday.com, it has all the platforms there, excluding TikTok and Clubhouse. And you can find me on TikTok and Clubhouse at Crystal Goliday. I made it super easy. On Twitter, it's at Coach Chris MG, because I'm a wellness coach too. But with that, that link is on my website. So I know some people may be like, okay, Crystal is probably super smart. That's how she got all of these things done. I'm not saying I'm dumb, but I was not always a straight A student, okay? So if you have my book, and a lot of you may have had my book, or it's great for a gift as well. I had a speech impediment. Like, I'm here talking to you effortlessly, but I stuttered. I had a low reading score and literacy, and I was very shy. I was in one of my mommy chat groups today. I call it a huddle. And I was telling them, like, I had butterflies. I was nervous. But I'm like, I know my stuff. And I know once I get going, I'm going to be fine. Right. And they're like, yeah, have a drink. But I don't drink. That's another fun fact about me. So I have my water on standby. Okay. So with me, it wasn't always a straight A student. It wasn't always the fact of me doing spectacular in school. Granted, like with getting certain help, and also with the village that I had, in regards to like my mom being very supportive and volunteering for a lot of different things. So those who are at my Prince's school, you see that I am involved a lot with the school, to a point where they made me a board trustee for all of our campuses. So I'm a parent on the board, and that's not all the members on the board. So it's only 2 of us out of the whole board for, to represent our campuses. So with that, like, I realized that our youth, because of my experience, me being shy, like in preschool, I got Little Miss Shy book. Yes, me, Little Miss Shy, where I had to realize throughout life, you had to speak up for yourself. Because if you don't speak up for yourself, then life is going to happen for you, to you, maybe not the way you want it. So I realized I had to speak up for myself, and looking at the advocates and the strong people I had in my life, and not everybody was, that strong, but I've learned in life that there's going to be some people in your life, things that are going to be that you like, that you don't like, and that you want to massage based on what is associated in your life, and you want to massage it to your particular path, because you're never going to have a carbon copy of someone else's life, right? So I had a speech coach. I went to a public school all the way until high school. I decided to go to a private high school because I didn't want to have to deal with clothes. I didn't want to have to deal with like gangs and like, just, I grew up in New York. And then also just the whole cattiness, even though that happens still in private school, but I wanted a different environment. So I learned about the tests that you had to do in New York, as well as I took the standardized test for the specialized schools, and I didn't get into them. Or maybe I did, but I didn't go that route. I ended up going to private school. And with private school, that's when my parents had to pay, and my parents were separated. So with that, I heard the discussions, because we were in 2 different households. I went with my dad on the weekend. I went with my mom during the week, about paying the rent, about my school tuition and things of that nature. And I knew for myself, for my future, I needed to find a way that if I wanted what I wanted, I can't just sit and wait for my parents, even though they both had corporate jobs. And if I needed them, they would have figured out a way. Just like most of us on here are parents, we know that if our child needs something, we're going to make it happen. But I put them in a position that they didn't have to go into their funding or savings or even taking out loans to do that, because there are other ways out there. So with that, I'll go into some of the funding sources, and then I'll continue on my journey a little bit, and I'll weave it in there. So with me, learning from just life happening or people advocating for me, I learned the power of asking. And one of my mentors, Lucinda Cross, has a book called The Big Ask, right? And she helped me get out of my shell, because I feel like in life, and then as we get older, we have different like situations that cause us to have different guards up, right? And sometimes you just have to simply ask, and the answer could be yes, it could be maybe, and guess what? It could be no. But guess what? That no is not always a no, never. It could be a no, maybe, or no, right, not right now. And what you may be asking for may not be for you, right? So just ask. So if you need something, for example, for yourself and or for your scholar, your student, your child, if you need funding, ask your network. are you aware of any funding sources, or my child is interested in this? Is there any particular programs? And that's another thing that I wanted to dive into too. But before I do that, with putting out there, like I researched, like I knew I was very good at math to a point where when I was younger, my prince is 6, right? I don't know if everyone heard the story, you probably haven't. So when I was 6, I had, my sister is you're 9 months younger than me, 5 different women, so you could do math, right? Love her to death. And we went to the same elementary school. My dad gave me $1. He told me to give her half. I knew a half is half. So I ripped the $1 and gave it to her. Looking back, I could laugh at it, but he's like, no, like you can't buy anything with that. And what's funny, my prince did that recently. So all I could do was laugh, because it was just like, okay, like you're learning fractions. Like, I don't even remember the situation around that with my prince, but being the fact that it happened with me, with my sister, I was just like, I can't even be mad, but he did tape it back and it's in the house somewhere. So there's different programs, right? Because with my elementary school, I don't know who found the speech therapist, but I used to go to a speech therapist while in school. Like now being a parent, I know there's things like IEPs. I didn't have an IEP, but I don't know what it was back then. I didn't have that, but there's ways to get additional things. And I know I'm in DC, so there's a lot of free different programs. There's a program now that there's various subjects that I have my prince sign up for tutoring. And he asked about his old tutor. And I'm like, oh no, you're not getting 1, but you're getting 2 this year. Like, because you have to think about it. Our counterparts, they're preparing their kids and even around the world for not just their grade, for things beyond. So there's a lot of different programs out there, and I learned through COVID, and then even now outside of COVID, there's a lot of things out there from my journey as well as from COVID and just his journey. So there's pipeline programs. That's what I want to talk about. So for me in high school, I realized I was very interested in math and I love science. So I researched different fields, and engineering, that was it for me, because I know I didn't want to do accounting. I know I didn't want to do, just different hardcore finance things. And I always had an interest in science. Like I was in the Brainiac clubs. Even though I was a cool nerd, I was on the step team, I was on the homecoming court, all of that stuff. So there's pipeline programs where in high school, I was in a program called ACE, Opportunities for Construction, Architecture, Construction, and Engineering. That's where the ACE came from. But it was a cohort of one college and different companies. And then we had a group project. So I was able to get hands-on experience with that. I was also going to Polytechnic Institute in Brooklyn from the Bronx in New York. In addition to one summer, I did a program at Manhattan College. Now, you may be thinking high school, okay, my child was in the elementary, bus it. I should have some music playing right now. Bus it. Okay. We love music in the Goliday household. So there's programs like NSBE, National Society of Black Engineers, that I found out about it in college. There's a professional organization now, right? Because I'm in the professional world. I'm beyond the college aspect. But there's a high school called Pre-College Initiative program, which I was the chair of my college's chapter for that. And actually, one of the students told me back then I should have started my nonprofit. That was like 2 decades ago. Should have started it a long time ago. But, it happens for when it's supposed to. But get this, they have a program that even starts NSBE Junior Chapter at 5. So I'm just waiting for COVID to get a little bit better so that I can figure this program out, because I know they have a program at Howard University. And I know I was talking to my sister friend, somebody I grew up with, and she lives in Atlanta. There's schools like Clark that have programs for middle schoolers. And I know Howard has programs for middle schoolers. So guess what? My prince is going to be in programs at colleges and middle school. And if they had elementary, it would be that too. But these are like pipeline programs that you can get exposure. You should just start connecting with people, and not necessarily saying it's going to give you a guaranteed entry. However, it is going to give you that in and have that on that child's resume or your resume. And that's what it did for me in regards to these programs, because I knew, like with that project where we built a community, I didn't want to do that structural engineering project that we did by hand and on AutoCAD with building a community, I knew I wanted to do something and learn more the intricacies of a computer. So I decided computer engineering. But guess what? I was able to do that before going to school. And then when I visited the colleges, the person from the College of Engineering at Drexel University, which I went to, they told me computer engineering had the most math. So if you're interested, you love math, computer engineering is the way to go. Plus you learn the hardware and software aspects of the computer. And I was fascinated by the motherboard of a computer. Just have to think, there's so many little intricacies with the circuits and then the coding and all that. And yeah, I was on the phone with one of my mommy friends today about coding for my website, which I'm going to talk to you about in a minute, because there's a couple of things that I'm going to drop on you that you can get a head start on. So I talked about asking, I talked about pipeline programs. There's also a thing called 529. This is something that is available for you to start investing and saving and getting money in regards to improving interest for your young scholar or your older scholar too. It's never too late to do it. And there's two pathways that 529 can go. It could be solely for tuition, or it can go for college related expenses. You have to look at what your state is offering, but get this, people can do gifts for that 529. So birthdays, I know there's a lot of toys in your house and you're probably tired of stepping on Legos. I know I am. So for my prince's birthday, I could be like, no gifts are required, but if you want to be so kind, you can donate to his 529 plan, right? Because that money that goes in it accrues interest. And I learned that with the tuition one, it's for tuition only, but the college related costs, it can go towards college related costs. And you got to think about it, things like housing, right? Associated with it. So, and financial wealth and just thinking early, like housing can be off campus, right? Yes. Okay. And just think about it. Like I told you, my scholarship that I was funded for my undergrad, they paid for my housing on campus or off. So once I found out about it my third year, I was off campus. I had my first apartment free, pretty much. Yes, free. Okay. There's also state funding. So if you decide to go to college in your state, or there's different programs. Like I grew up in New York, so there was the Regents program. So if you score a certain amount, you're recognized. I was recognized by, different government officials. And if I went to a state school, there would have been additional funding for me there. So definitely look into the state stuff. And then when it comes to other funding, when it comes to like scholarships and grants, it may be state specific. I know for my scholarship last year, I was kind of honing in on certain locations, but I didn't want to have people miss out on the opportunity, which I'm going to tell you about several opportunities in a few. So the next is contact that school. So one of my clients, right, I empower them with the strategies I learned. And with the strategies that I learned, it's like the school has funding in the college, in their particular college, in the alumni association, whatever the case may be, because get this, the executive administrator. So you want to be nice to everyone because you never know who can give you information, and not that you're being nice for the fact of to get something. She schooled me that the college would fund me to go to professional conferences. Oh, you need this, Crystal? Okay, you can represent us and do this and do that. Okay. And so I just, I want to go to this conference. Okay, how much does it cost? Here's the paperwork. So like the college has funding, and there's also a thing with the alumni. Like it's two things that I want to highlight. So after writing my book and putting it out there and talking to my network of fellow authors and fellow scholars, someone told me about a home scholarship. Like at their school, the people from their area that they grew up gives a scholarship to their school from someone from their neighborhood. So say for instance, someone from DC, right? Went to FAMU. I know FAMU is big out here, and FAMU is, I think it was rated the #1 HBCU. Don't come for me. I read this somewhere. Okay. I didn't go to HBCU. I have no dog in the fight. So somebody from DC goes to FAMU, and then their alumni, they come together, put money together to fund someone to go to college. So that's called the home scholarship. You could look into that, look into the alumni associations and see what they have to offer. But then there's also special projects. Like I'm a part of a special project with my college that's coming out in the new calendar year. So I have one book, another book is coming out. But that is with our Drexel University Black Alumni Council, Black Alumni Council, DUBAC, yes. So for African Americans, Blacks to go to our college, the funds from the book that me and a couple of other people put together are going to help fund other Black students to come to Drexel, which is a private school, which their price is expensive. And I'm blessed that I was able to go there for free. And not even 99, free .00 in a couple of like zeros. I didn't have to pay for anything. So as you can see, there's different opportunities from an alumni standpoint, but then also contacting that particular financial aid. Like I had a client where I contacted financial aid. Like I combed through the information they had. I called to verify things. I called to get more information. Like I've had people attest or contest their financial aid packages and be able to get more money, or the fact that their parents made a lot of money. There was an office that we had at our school where they provided opportunities for Black and brown students to succeed. It was actually called the Success Office. So shout out to Dr. Stephen Jones and other people who are keeping that alive. So there's different things at the schools and at particular colleges, like, because it's the university, it's the whole school, but I went to the College of Engineering. But then I was also in the College of Electrical and Computer Engineering. So it can get as granular as like this college year that I'm graduating, or the major or things of that nature, or your own particular specifications. And then I also want you to think of organizations. One being my nonprofit, which I'm going to talk about, which is Never Underestimate Knowledge. So there are various organizations out there that want to empower financially, right? So there's professional organizations like the thing called NSBE that I talked about, National Society of Black Engineers. There's also sororities and fraternities. If you saw my page, I am an AKA, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and we raised $1 million in a day. Actually, we doubled that. It's our 4th year doing it. We actually raised over $2 million to go to HBCUs. And one thing about me, I am the HBCU Impact chair for my sector of what I am in my sorority. So like there's a lot of things going on. Every sorority and fraternity, I could talk about the historically Black sororities and fraternities. They have some type of mentoring program. They have some type of scholarship. They have some type of thing that your child can take advantage of in regards to getting information and showing up and being a part of, okay? And there's also community stuff. So you could think about like churches. I know the church that I'm a part of, they have a big presentation. I see one of my fellow church members here, and we're in a lot of different things together. I'm a member of First Baptist Church of Glenard, and they do a whole youth thing, have them be presented, have funds and everything for them to go to school. And then in my neighborhood, we have an association where we give away money to our youth that are going to college. So that is something. And you have to think about just on a scale of globally, nationally, and even locally, where a lot of people are going after the Gates, Coca-Cola, and stuff like that. And I say still go for it. But you have to think about probability. There's also a lot of people that are going after those things. And when it comes to the more local things, because I don't want to say small, like there aren't a lot of people that one may even know about it and that second may even apply. Like I'm coming from the end of wanting to give away money from my sororities foundation point, from our chapter, to like my nonprofit. Like last year was the first year that we gave away scholarships, and we gave away 5, may I add. And it was like, okay, this money is here. Like the deadline's coming up. Where are all the people to apply for it, right? So you have to think in a holistic way and also put in the work. It's not going to be easy. Like for me, back in the day, I had a big scholarship book that I had to go through, and I had to write letters or type them and then mail them out and things of that nature. We have the internet right now. We could just put some keywords in there, see what comes up. If you're on my email list, you got a whole slew of list of scholarships and funding sources last month or last week, 2 weeks ago, last week. And, it's just a whole lot of funding sources. And I want you to know it's more than just scholarships out there. There's grants out there too. Like, it's not just for nonprofits. There's grants out there. There's also fellowships where it comes with a, working standpoint with like graduate students or even internships. And that's another thing I want to talk about with pipeline programs. I was the national lead for an internship program with the firm I work for, which I've been working for them for 15 years. And I did it for 2 fiscal years. And it was an initiative by our CEO. These students, I had as young as 14 working for a Fortune 500 company. They have a Fortune 500 company on their resume. And oh, by the way, they're in a pipeline, a unique pipeline to be hired if they decide to, if everything aligns, right? So everybody's not getting that opportunity because guess what? Everybody's not going after it. Everybody doesn't know about it. And if you're in DC, I one of my shirts that I wore on my walks, because I do daily walks, and definitely take care of yourself. It's called, oh, I'm having a brain fart right now. I'll come back to that. It's a DC organization that they prepare high school students, and it's for different high schools. For career, on-ramps for careers, or on-ramps to careers. It's a great program. They help align the students, and they were one of our nonprofit partners because the unique program I had is that we use our nonprofit partners, not utilize them. We had a partnership with them where we would provide opportunities at our client sites internally doing stuff for a Fortune 500 company, and so that that student can gain real world experience as well as they can build their resume and their skills. Yes, on ramps to careers. Yes, and I have someone in the chat co-signing on that program, and the founder is really awesome, and this is doing a lot of great things in the community. I even connected with a lot of great people with being the national lead from and representing DC with that program. So there's also companies out there. Like there's companies where like if you work for a company, like with my company, I have insight to different programs and stuff like that. Like on my email list, I talked about a legal program for the people who want to study law. There's also funding sources for like people who work there. What actually through my graduate degrees, the companies I work for paid for them. And one had a traditional program and one did. Because guess what? You have to learn what the particular training funds are for, if what you want to go to school for can relate to it, how and what the requirements are. So you have to do some digging and do some research. And that's why I offer my consulting services, because with that, I'm able to take some of the legwork because I know we all have busy lives. We all have things that we are having our regular routine that may not be able to add to. You can't add to the plate because it may be too much for you, but these are things that you need to do, especially if you want your child to go or you to go to college debt free or expand your career in education. And then things that you use, like I know for me, I think it's called affinity programs. I talked about it with the person who provided me the service, and I talked about it in my email list where one of the insurance companies I have, they have a thing where every birthday for my prince, there's funds and points that they put into him for his college effortlessly. It's just, I had to just start the program, So there's different things where it's like, even if you think about a Costco's, right? You have Costco's, but then you have the programs and stuff that's associated with it because you're a Costco's member. You can take advantage of that. So you have to look and see what's out there. Just like we have credit cards and it has point systems and rewards. Different companies and different programs have different reward systems that could be associated for education. And then also think about sponsorship. Like I talked about sponsorship when it came to my conferences, right? That's not the traditional, everybody apply for it. People may want to sponsor you. Like I'm looking for sponsors for my nonprofit event in November. So if you or know a company, or if you want to help donate to it, you can. And if there's any questions about any of the funding sources, feel free to put it in the comments. I'll talk about that more. But I'm just going to dive in now into my nonprofit, is because like this ties into each other. So just digging into why I started my nonprofit and where it came from. So I've always wanted to have something for the community, right? back when I was in college, I was talking about the high school students when I was the pre-college initiative chair for NSBE, which is the National Society for Black Engineers. And with that, I told them I want to have a leadership and learning development center for our youth, right? Because I grew up with a program, and actually these were their colors, yellow and green. That's my colors from my book too. But green for money, yellow is my favorite color, and those who are here a lot, their name is in this hat for the running for what I'm giving away is my book, signed copy of my book, as well as a consultation with me. So that program opened my eyes to so many things. With our summer camp, we traveled one week in the summer outside of New York. They had the after school program. They had the Saturday tutorial program. So on Saturday, when most of y'all was watching cartoons back in the 80s, I was doing schoolwork in the morning on Saturdays. But, it paid off because sometimes you have to put in work. You have to work in order to reap the benefits. And I was able to do that. So those high school students were like, oh, you should start it. And I'm like, no, it's not the right time. I'm following this path. They're paying for me to go to school. So I'm going to do that. And I did that, followed that path. But then once my dad died in 2014, my prince was born. My mom died 5 years later after my dad. And then while I was on the bedside of my mom in 2019, I realized, just talking to myself here. You've been living and doing goals that, yes, you wanted to do, but it's the goals that your parents had set for you with going to school, going to work, finding a company that you can work for, then you retire for that company. Then you enjoy life. But get this, my dad had to retire early for his health. And he wasn't able to enjoy the finances and the life that he thought he was going to have. And that he worked hard for, and that he invested in, because he had to pay for his health, and then his health deteriorated. His body broke down on him. And then my mom, as I was on the bedside of her in ICU for about a month, I realized, you need to work on your goals with deep down in your heart. And I was in a mastermind group at that time, and I decided to write a book. And I was going to go a totally different path, mom journal or something like that. But it was Lucinda Cross, and Robin was like, whoa, run it back. You had 3 college degrees for free. Like, how did you do that? Let's write that down. And I learned the strategies of how to write a book. And I did it on the bedside of my mom. And then also, as an extension of that, but then also my life, my dream was to do like a nonprofit. And so I started my nonprofit while in the hospital with her in New York. And it was just, the rest is history. But with my nonprofit, Never Underestimate Knowledge, is a 501c3 nonprofit that provides resources to inner city youth and domestic violence survivors so that they can live out their dreams and further their education. And the reason why I chose those 2 groups, because as you know, I grew up in New York, and then also I'm a domestic violence survivor. I had a tumultuous relationship with the ex, and we can go into that topic another time, because one of the last few mom talks, we did talk to someone who, and that topic came up, so we may come in a new year with something about that. So with my nonprofit, we had it was founded in 2019, and then in 2020 we had our event called Creating Legacies Today. Now the reason why I chose that name is because through me, my parents live on. I'm creating a legacy for them to live on, but then for also so that my dash between my born date and my death date, because let's face it, we all are not going to be here forever, even though I plan to be here beyond 100. And I knocked on wood. So we knock on this other wood over here. We have those dates, right? But I want that dash in between those 2 dates to mean something. Not just for me, not just for my family, but for others. Because that's what I want. I don't want to leave on this earth. Oh yeah, Crystal was here. This is her born date, her death date. Oh, these are her titles and stuff like that. Woo woo. Okay, moving on. I want it to be like what I've done still lives on beyond my years here. Just like what I'm doing with my parents. So in 2020, I told you I wrote my book in 2019. I founded my nonprofit in 2019. In 2020, I had the Creating Legacies Today event for the first year. I started my first scholarship which is the RHM scholarship, which is after my mom, Roberta Hunter McGee. And we awarded 5 scholarships to deserving high school and college students. And we're going to do it again. So that is going to happen. So if you have a high school or college student, the time is now for them to apply for it, because we're doing again 5 scholarships. But wait, there's more. We're not just doing those 5 this year, ladies and gentlemen. We're not. We're doing more. So with Never Underestimate Knowledge, we are also honoring my dad this year, Tyrone Gilbert McGee, the TGM scholarship. And with the TGM scholarship, we are taking it on a different level. Because let's think about it. As parents, we want to get our children started as early as possible. And guess what? We may want to continue our education, right? Because let's face it, we're still human. We may not be where we want to be, or we may just want to expand our toolkit. Because I'm actually taking courses now at Cornell. I had 2 due last week, 2 started this week. So I'm a lifelong learner here. And they're for free. Must I add, for free. And Cornell is not a little Matchbox book. So with that, the TGM scholarship after my dad is going to give away another 5 scholarships. Yes, you heard me right, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a total of 10 scholarships. Now, the RHM scholarship is covering high school and college. Because guess what? Like, we have to think about it. That's really where the money resides when it comes to getting that funding for people to go to college. So it's because it's so near, right? But I see a lot of names in here. We have younger children. So the TGM scholarship is going to be for elementary school. And we know elementary starts at 3. Through middle school. So if you have a middle schooler and an elementary school student, there's going to be scholarships there under the TGM scholarship. And then I'm also doing an adult learning scholarship. So ideally, depending on the applicants, I want to do 2 elementary, 2 middle school, and 1 adult learner. And I was going to do it as stringent as you have to have a 529 and all that, but I had some strategy calls with some great people. Some of you may be in here and some may be in my house. And they're like, don't do it so stringent, because for me, like, my goal with Never Underestimate Knowledge is to provide resources for inner city youth and domestic violence survivors. Some people may not have a 529. They may not even know about it. So that's why through this platform and through other things that I do and on social media, I'm empowering others with information. And through my consulting services, for those who can afford it, I am getting deeper into the cipher of the skills and the strategies that I have. So the information is there. It's a matter of applying it. However, everybody may not have that formalized step. So if you go to my site, Never Underestimate Knowledge, you'll now see a scholarship button, people. A scholarship button, yes. I was doing some coding today, and I haven't done coding in a while. So shout out to Adrian for having a little consultation session with me, because I wasn't getting one thing right. But I was also trying to do it at an odd hour. Side story, you try to get things done when you can get them done. So with that, scholarships are on my page, ladies and gentlemen. And it's not just those 10 scholarships, right? The TGM and the RHM scholarship. I have a sponsor. Yes, remember I talk about sponsorship? That comes from you going to college, you doing things, but also my nonprofit. We're looking for sponsors, but we also have sponsors already. So the lovely Maya Lana is giving away a $5,000 scholarship to a deserving college student. There are other stipulations for that. They did decide to do it for a college student, someone studying STEM. They heard my journey. They heard about my nonprofit did a Woman in STEM event in March. We were sponsored by Amazon and stuff like that. So there are a lot of different things that I have in store for this November thing. The thing at Creating Legacies Today. But you can go to my nonprofit's website, neverunderestimateknowledge.org. Or you can go to my website too, because if you go to my website, I have it linked there. It's Milk Nonprofit and UK Nonprofit. You have no issue of getting there. If you're on Instagram, the link is in that profile on my Never Underestimate Knowledge site, right? So there are multiple ways you can get to this information where the money resides, but you can apply, right? Because in November, Saturday, November 13th, 2021, is that date right? That is correct. We are having our Creating Legacies Today event for the second year. I'm so happy it's the second year, and we more than double things, and whoever, you don't know what's going to happen between now and November. So it is a name your own donation to attend it, because let's face it, we still want to continue to grow and do different things. But we're awarding those scholarships there. So, and there is some live voting. There's some that's not going to be live voting. I'm not doing the live voting on the children, but we're going to announce it there. At children as in the middle school and the high schooler. I mean, the middle schoolers and the elementary school. The high schoolers and the college, I haven't decided on the adult learners yet. We are, my board and I are still talking about it, right? So it's some live voting, it's music, it's other things, it's maybe some giveaways and stuff. So it's definitely an event you don't want to miss. It's virtual. COVID last year forced us to be virtual. I'm going to keep that event virtual. But then also in June of next year, prayerfully, everything will be better with the stuff that's going on in the air. And we're doing a live event. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're doing a live event. We're cruising for education. Yes, the boat ride. I have a private charter boat, have a capacity of a couple of hundred. We'll see if we push the limit to the couple of hundred or not, but it's going to be fun. And we're going to party, day party style, adult only event with different things that we're going to have going on there, but it's definitely going to be an event you don't want to miss. So those are the things that I have going on. I told you about my consulting services. My book is a great gift as well. And I do speaking engagements as well. So I will leave it open to any questions, because I have been talking for a while. I'm surprised that I did this long, but you know, once I get going, just like my huddle fellow moms, they were telling me, like, once you get going, you're gonna be fine. And I'm like, yeah, you know, what you write, it's probably gonna be the case. And look at that, that was the case. And I want to say shout out to Nadan, which is a company, but Nadej, she made my shirt. It's because I am the fun finder for education. If you didn't know, let me quote Biggie. If you don't know, now you know. But you can also Google that too, because I'm Googleicious, and there's articles about me being the fun finder for education, as well as stuff about my nonprofit, as well as my book and things of that nature. So if there are any questions, feel free to put them in the comments. And then also if there's anything that you want to say, you could take yourself off mute. And the beautiful thing about joining Mom Talk Live is that you can have this live interaction. Now, some people may be seeing the recording, and that's cute. That's cute. You can reference it. You can come back to it. You can share it. And I definitely want you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can find me, Crystal Goliday. And I think my link is also on my webpage. My prince is coming in. I think he needs to stay over there because it's past your bedtime, sir. So with the live audience, you also get the opportunity to get something from the speaker, which is me. Today, the guest mom expert, or the guest mom, and for someone in this audience, which I will be writing the names as I see the comments, and they're going to get my book as well as the consulting session with me. So I'm going to go into the comments to see if there's any questions, and feel free to come off of mute. So Jewel, from your experience, what do you think prevents more young and older people for applying scholarship monies? Okay, I think Jewel, applying for scholarship money. I think quite honestly, they're lazy or they don't know what to do, Jewel. And I think sometimes even, and let's face it, some of our youth are entitled. These millennials, whatever whatever the generation is now called, they have it good. They have it better than we do. And they feel like things can be handed to them. And you have to work, as I mentioned, you have to do your research and things of that nature. And this is mom talk. So I'm a mom. This is real life. Like, sometimes this happens. You don't have a bedtime. Like, it is what it is. But So yeah, I think that's what the case is, and they may not know. So it's people like myself, it's people like you, because I know you're great with it, that you actually know different resources, but then you also help them in their journey as well. So with that, I think we need to continue to empower. I think we need to continue to do what we need to do to make sure that they're straight. So that's because I know for me, I had a village that helped raise me in different ways, because the big funding source that I had, my aunt told me about it. And it's not that it was given to me. It was the fact that it was an application process. It was an interview process. It was an immersion program. It was a whole bunch of different things I had to do, right? And my prince is representing Howard University. My husband went there for his graduate degree. So hopefully, Ju, I answered your question. If you had anything else to add on that, just let me know. And feel free to come off with the mic.
Hi, Krista. This is Bray. Hey, girl. So I wanted to say thank you so much. This was very informative. I learned a lot. But I also had like a twofold question. So one is that if you can share, I wanted to know more about 529, as well as I think you mentioned, well, you did mention a lot about programs that we can put our children in, our elementary school children in, and that these programs can be free to us. And so I'm wondering if you have like a resource guide for that, for like just finding just free resources for elementary school children. Like you mentioned, like your prince has a tutor, and just wanted to know more about that stuff for the younger kids.
Yeah, so for me, it came through in regards to my network. Like I know some people in here, they may share things with me. Our school is very good with sharing things. And for those who are on my email list, I'll share the different programs, because I know the program where he has a tutor, it was definitely like location specific. So it may not be in your neighborhood, but it was in my like in DC. But there are different programs out there. So I'll do some research, and that will be one of my College Tip Tuesdays things that I share. And then I also share what he's already a part of, or what you can take advantage of, because there was even a strict music program that he took advantage of, that he has a very nice vibe. Did I bring it back? Okay. There was a very nice instrument program that was free, where they provide private lessons, and it was also group lessons. So to answer your question, there's different ones out there. I will share in different forums in regards to what they are. And then I'll do some research on more too. And then my husband and my prince is in here. So, and I'm on live on my talk show. Okay, so. So with that, let me see if I have another question. My problem is that I don't feel like researching scholarships. Do you have a list of scholarships to apply for that are low hanging fruit? On my email list, I did provide a list of scholarships. And then with that, my whole family is just in here today. Let me, excuse me for 1 second. This is live. This happened.
I reach for a lifeline.
Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes. You just said it to me. Thank you for the lifeline, ladies and gentlemen. But it's not working that much right now. Okay, so with the low hanging fruit right now, it's been the sources that I told you, and then also information that I've been sharing on my email list. And then as I get more information, I do share it on my email list. But I honestly think what I'm thinking for you, Sharice, is you have your network, that with your network, there's a lot of different resources that we know of that your princesses can apply for. So we can talk offline about that. And then when it comes to specific situations, that's when I get into my consulting services. But I know you're very resourceful and you already know stuff. Like sometimes we think it's a whole like thing that we have to do, but we already know like the answer to it. So, and we have the resources at our fingertips in addition to, we know who to talk to. So we can talk offline. And in my email list, I've been sharing a lot. I've been trying to do a newsletter every week. Yes, Jill.
How do you find balance between, keeping your child engaged, but not overscheduled?
I think it's trial and error. Because even from the 3 years that he's been active in activities, is some things that he likes doing and some things that he doesn't, and some things I'm like, okay, we're gonna keep trying it out because I know it's gonna benefit him. For example, when it came to soccer at 3, he didn't like it. Okay, thank you. But now he is definitely involved in it more. And yeah, that's my husband right there. This really doesn't happen on my talk. So my prince may come in here, but that's the shark face and everything. Like, come on, guys, come on, we are live here. So I think it's trial and error for you to see what is best. They're really just laughing and just doing all of this. It's really trial and error for you to see what the benefit is over time. To see that, for real, in rare form, like. I don't understand. Can you get him, please? Like, the people are talking. Like, sorry, Dr. Goliday, calling Paige and Dr. Goliday. And he calls the door. Go with him, please. So, yeah, it's a family affair. Like, it really is. So, back to the question at hand. It's about trial and error. It's a matter of seeing what works best for your child. But also knowing if something's going to have a lasting impact on them is something that they should stick with. Like for me, I played the viola back in junior high school. I wish I stuck with it. My prince had the opportunity to play the violin as well as other instruments. I'm like, you're going to try it. You're going to do it right now. And we'll see what happens with it. But it's something that if it's like, he's totally treading, then I'll probably be like, okay, no. But if I know it's not a benefit, then I'm gonna have him continue with it. And I know I was in a mom chat, a text chat, and someone was talking about fencing, and they mentioned how it was a matter of another skill that their child could pick up. So they're picking that up at 5. They're starting fencing, and there's about 10 universities that offer fencing, and so it's what's best for your child, but also you want to gauge your children because every child is different. And that took a little bit longer than I expected for the response because of all the involvement that I had, but hopefully you get the gist of it, Jill.
I do. Thank you. I think it's
no problem.
It's definitely a balancing act. I always wonder how other parents kind of handle it, just because, like you said, there may be things you want to expose them to, but scheduling wise, I'm not a fan of being, as I call driving Miss Daisy all year long. So thank you for that.
And that's one thing I had to assess too, driving across town for things, because we were in one part of town, we were driving to the other part of town multiple times a week for different things. And I'm like, wait a minute, like, and it's mainly me for most of the things. So it's COVID has really reminded me to just kind of just change perspective of what have them involved. And the school is doing a lot in regards to in-house stuff, where they're doing like tennis, they're doing karate, they're doing dance, they're doing yoga and stuff like that. So, and that's a part of like the aftercare program. So with that, it's kind of like I'm excited that to be able to do that opposed to traveling across town. Yes, the opposite side of town, Shanae. Yep. You have a question, sir? What's your question, sir? What's your question? I don't hear you saying anything. Okay. Thank you. Okay, so if there's no more questions, I will pick the name out of the hat. Let me check the chat one more time just to make sure. Oh. commenting about what's going on over here. Yes. And
a lot of coins for that.
We're big on yes, Daddy Shark. We're big on Mario Brothers and Luigi and all of that. So with that, I'm going to pick who is a lucky person today and make sure I have make sure I'm missing one person. And just know that next month we're having someone to come and talk about entrepreneurship, but also invention. She has been able to get a lot of people on QVC, as well as she has a lot of different connections. So her name is Lisa, so she'll be on next month, the 4.0 of the month. So I'll be sharing information about that, and I'll start sharing information about creating legacies today and the scholarships on my page, which you have the inside link. Never underestimate knowledge. You can also go to my website. It's neverunderestimateknowledge.org. And you can also go to my website, crystalgoliday.com, and go to the Nook nonprofit link on the top. And then there's a scholarship section on my page, and you can start applying for the scholarships now. Do you want to pick the name? Okay, pick it out the hat. Just one. Show it. Talitha. So you win a copy of my book as well as a consultation session, Talitha.
Yay. So I already have your book. So
Okay.
Can you pick someone else?
Okay.
Just like I feel like there are other people on the line who will benefit, because I know I can tap into you when I need to.
All right. Thank you. Will do. Hey, you could choose another name. Okay.
Let's see how many coins I got from that coin.
Just choose one more, please.
8 coins. Knew I was gonna get 8 coins.
He has 8 coins, ladies and gentlemen. Sharice. So Sharice, you are the winner.
Wait, is she Miss Sharice?
Yes, that's Miss Sharice for another day. So you are gonna get a copy of my book, and then you have a consultation
Can you
service.
see me, Crystal?
Yeah. Say that again. Now we see you.
I was saying, can you hear me, Crystal?
Yes.
Don't judge my background. But I like Talitha, I have your book, but I'm going to take you up on those consultation services. So I'm keeping my winning ticket.
Okay. So we will definitely set up the consultation services, because I know you had the specific question about things. And then I'm gonna do one more drawing to see if we can pick another name for somebody to get my book. One more person. Come on.
I saw an Evan's mom and dad in this.
I know. Yes. Hi, Evan's mom and dad. and wait, and he picks Evan's mom's name. Evan's mom, you will be getting the book. Okay.
I was gonna say I too have the book. However, is it just for the book?
Yes, it is, and you can gift it to somebody.
All right, I will gift it to someone. Thank
and
you.
I appreciate all of you for the support of our book. Yeah.
Listen, your network is here, okay? We buy the book.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you so much. So what I like to do in regards to Mom Talk, this is a community event, right? And this is for us in our platform. I like for you to share what is going on with you, because I know all of you have great things going on. And sometimes if you don't want to share it, I'm going to share it because I'm happy for you. So I'll just do a quick round robin. If you want to raise your hand, if you want to open your mic, you can do either or and share what you have great that is going on. And hi, Joyce. Anybody have anything going on that they would like the community to know about?
I can go. This is Denise. Hi, everyone. My name is Denise Williams, and I am the owner of the Boho Mama, which is basically a online premium apparel, home decor, and gift shop. I just opened my website, and I have children's t-shirts currently as the collection I'm showcasing right now. And I will put my website in the chat below, and you guys can come visit and see if you would like to buy any of the shirts I currently have. Thank you.
Awesome. I'm excited about your venture. And thanks for sharing. Anyone else? Okay. Well, just remember the people that are in here. There's a lot of great things they're doing. You'll see some things that I share about them on my site as well. Oh, not my site, on my social media. And make sure you follow me if you're not.
115.
Feel free, if there's anything that you see that is for your network, for you to share from myself or from anyone else, because a share it costs you nothing. But you never know who it would help. So on this note, I am Crystal Goliday, the Fun Finder for Education, and I'm gonna sign off because mommy duty is here, okay? And we have school in the morning, and I don't want any issues, but guess what? Daddy has drop-off duty, so but mommy getting dressed, so
How many?
I still have to get up and I still have to do work. But at the same time, we all have
26.
other things that we have to do this evening.
Crystal, I think you're on mute.
Thank you. Next Wednesday, not next Wednesday, next month is going to be the 4th Wednesday of the month where I have my next Mom Talk episode, and we're going to have Lisa come and talk about entrepreneurship and also inventing. Okay, Lisa's in the Loud House. That's what he wanted to let me know and let you know. So I'm going to still open up for any questions. I hope I recorded this. Be really nice.
You did. It says recording.
I don't see where it is to end it at this point, but here it goes. Maybe up here. Yep. Woo! You are the best. Yes, you are. So I'm going to stop recording, but I'm going to keep it open. And that's